Hi there, it's the Time Lord here. Thank you very much for joining me. I have an amazing guest on my show today, which is Deborah Law, amazing interior designer. Hello, Deborah. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm really, really good. Thank you very much for joining me. It's a bit early doors for me. I'm not normally up at this time and at work, but I know that you probably are. Thank you very much for joining us. So we're talking interior design today, and Deborah is an amazing interior designer, but interior design is a little more than what you might think. So Deborah, tell me a bit about yourself and what you do and etc. and what interior design is for a minute for our viewers.
Sure. Hi there. So I'm Deborah from Deborah Law Interiors, and we're an interior design practice based in Berkshire. And I've been running the practice for 12, 13 years now. And we are an interior design practice that actually works very broadly from an architectural level, as well as to the full design and transformation of properties. And that's where I love it to be. Interior design for me it's how best to get a building to work for the clients. And that has to start from an architectural point of view. So we're not architects, but we work alongside our architectural colleagues, because a lot of interior design decisions can have physical connotations, how the lighting plan should work, where you want, if you want a fireplace, if you want a door in a certain place, if you want to take a wall down. So the best we can make a building, we have to work at an architectural level. It's not just about dressing it. So yeah, that's what we love to do.
Okay, so you mentioned their architecture. Why is it important to you to be in at the ground level upwards with architecture? Because I would have thought you just go in there after it's been built and all the rest of it, and you put in your scatter cushions and your wallpaper and the furniture, the sinks, the taps and so on. Why is it important from literally the ground up and the blueprint being designed? Why is it important for you to be in at that stage as an interior designer?
Yeah, I mean, that certainly for renovation works. If somebody's bought a brand new house, then obviously we go and dress the physical, property as it is. But the vast majority of our work is renovation led, and clients come to us and say, they're at a loss to how to make the property better. So we go in and advise once we've learned about how they want to live. Because yes, you've got a physical four walls, but how the property is structured inside, the interior architecture, could be very different. You don't have to have a single doorway. It could be a double doorway. That wall actually could be an entire glazing wall, for example. There's lots of things that you can do structurally to create an amazing place to live. So we have got a reputation to be involved at the very beginning, to look at what physical changes we could make internally to deliver the most amazing living space for our clients.
Right, okay. So what's important in that living space on a practical and aesthetic viewpoint? Is it lighting? Is it colours? What is it that grabs you and grabs your clients? Or is it so varied you can't actually define that?
It's very varied, and that's why clients end up needing an interior designer, because there's so many things, so many questions to balance and answer. But we work... For me, it's the front door. You stand in the front door, you go into a property. What do you feel as soon as you step into it? How does it flow? So we work with our clients from how they want to live. So when I go into a property, it's what feeling does it create? Because when you're in an environment, that affects your mood, whether you're in the most amazing hotel you've ever been in, or you're in a nice restaurant and you go to galleries and museums. Space helps us feel good. And so it's about creating that space that helps our clients really love what they're looking at, but it's physically and practically got to work for everyday living as well. So there are lots of things that we juggle But we take the stress away from our clients of, not knowing what to do for the best, and we work with them step by step of getting a property to be fab.
Okay, and what about lighting? How important for me? Turner is the best artist of all time. His use of light is amazing. You know, allegedly strapped to a mast on a ship in a snowstorm, and he painted a picture, and it was called A Cat in a Snowstorm. Not always appreciated, but for me, he is the best artist regarding the use of light that there is. How important is lighting and light to you and to your clients as an interior designer?
Well, it's very important. First of all, natural light. How much natural light are we getting into a property? And it isn't just about, windows. An entire side of a house, if there was privacy there, could be structural glazing, or we could have sun tunnels coming through. So you cannot deliver electrically the same light that you get from lovely Mother Nature. So natural light is amazing, and the more light we can get into a property, the better. Then when it comes to lighting, then I say you've got to at least have 4 lighting plans, from your ceiling lights to your task lighting, to your table lamps, to your floor, to your LED decorative lighting that may be in built-in furniture. There's at least 4 levels. And then, do you want lights to turn on as you physically walk into a room? Imagine the kids loving every time they take a step up the stairs, a light comes on per step. So there's very creative things you can do with lighting, and you need to be planning that into the fabric of the building, or changes before it's happened.
Yeah, and that can be a nightmare to us photographers and videographers, because people may not know, but lights have a Kelvin rating, and especially on video, you get a flicker rate. So all lights are flickering, they're not visible to the human eye. And basically, I remember I've shot in big shows, Gamescom, Mobile World, things like that, where you go, I was almost going to swear then. I've got this light on this stand, and it's still, another one's flickering, and you go, I don't know. And then I've shot inside in one premises. It was like a man cave of a guy who's semi-retired. There was a digital jukebox. There was a pinball machine. There were lights as they went up the stairs. There were different tones. There were overhead lights. There was skylight. There was lights around the blinds and so on. You wanted a video and then photography with it all. And it's an absolute nightmare to do, to photograph and video, but it can be done. But when you're living in it, what the human eye sees is not what the camera sees. And you're right, that can affect mood and so on as well, quite significantly, can't it?
Yeah, and when you're making reference to art, if you've got some wonderful art, then, the best thing to do is have that with picture lights as well, for in an evening that you want to appreciate your art. It needs illuminating as well, if you can plan that in.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and how much is all of this about practical, pragmatic living within a property and a premises, or how much is it aesthetics, or combination of the two? What is it about it that for you as a designer is most important, or can't it be defined?
It's a balance. I mean, I'm a very practical person. A property has to work. You spend so many hours, days, months, years in a house. The property has to work the best it can be for you. So it is a balance between, how you store things, how the lights move as you go around a property, and then when you're sitting relaxing, what you're looking at. You want to look at the most amazing chandelier or table lamp or something. It's a combination of everything. You're in a home. You're in the home so much that it is a working place, and ever so much more now as everybody's working from home, it seems. Yeah, the property has got to work for you on all different levels, and so there are so many things to assess and plan in, and that's what we help our clients do. We do this day in, day out. We'll bring things to them. Oh, I never thought of that. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, yes. And all that happens just so much.
And what about the male-female perspective of clients? Clash of ideas?
Can be interesting. You very rarely get a couple that completely agree on everything, but no, then you've got to, yes, you have to balance requests. But I'm not afraid to say to a client, if I really think something isn't going to work, I'll tell them. That's my job to do. I'm there to listen to all their needs, but to advise and take their needs forward. And if I really think something isn't going to work in a property, I'm honest. I've got to
Yeah.
say, but
Well,
there's
yeah.
never been an
Yeah.
argument or anything.
Yeah. So that brings us on to fashion and trends and so on. That somebody might, whether it be male, female perspective, might prefer this is the in thing. I remember when we first got married and we were in our first flat, my wife and I redid the grouting on the tiles on the sink. I retiled the sink. We couldn't afford interior design and so on at that time, but basically I did red grouting on the sinks, and we had red and white saucepans and so on, and dinner service and so on when we got married. And within about 18 months, 2 years, it was going out of fashion, the red, the blue, the yellow, the green, and so on, the bright colors in the kitchen. And I learned at that point, don't do something that has a short lifespan of attraction. How do you feel about that, about setting, about following trends, design, fashion, and things like that?
I don't, is the strict answer. Fashion is something that, it's here today, is gone tomorrow, as you've alluded to. We take on, if there's new developments in materials, in work surfaces, and nobody's saying ground source heat pumps are fashionable. Nobody's saying getting electric points for cars now is fashionable. You move on, and if things develop, now there's some fantastic work surfaces that you can have for kitchens, for example, that didn't develop, weren't around a few years ago. That's not been fashionable. That's just looking at improved materials going forward. But what's the in color for this year? Everything must be black, everything must be brass. No, I don't go for that. We are working with a set of clients and their property, and we're doing what's right for them, and everything that I do has got to have a timeless nature to it.
And I think that's where you come in, isn't it, Deborah? And your whole profession.
Yes, no, absolutely. Some designers, some different practices do different things. Some interiors may not go right as far down the architectural route as we do. So that's, you've really got to look when you're looking for an interior designer. You've got to really think, what do you need? If it's more the aesthetics, you're designing a new property. You don't have to have that architectural vision. But if you're doing a renovation, you've really got to think about what's the right vision for the house, and there's so many things involved that you need to have somebody that's going to think about how you're going to live all the way through, not just about what's the biggest building you could get on a plot, for example. There's lots of things to work through.
Yeah, brilliant. And you get on well with architects?
Very well, yes. We work incredibly well. They the two professions work really well, because one's thinking, very simply, if I may say, about the physical structure and how a property works with the environment and looks from the outside, but we're thinking from the inside out, I suppose, and they're thinking from the outside in. So it works really well, and get different brains on the project gets the most for the client.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for coming on my show. You can do this, I think, the Live Long and Prosper. Live Long and Prosper, Deborah. Thank you for coming on my show. You take care now, and we will catch you again soon. Thank you so much.
All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.